Good evening and welcome back to Review Morgue. Jeannie,
Dun, dun, dun.
what
Yes.
movie are we going to be discussing this evening?
We are stepping into the world of Edgar Allan Poe's horror story, The Masque of the Red Death.
Dun dun dun!
Dun, dun, dun. However, this is a Roger Corman movie made in 1964, so it's a little bit far afield in some aspects of Poe's work, but
Mm-hmm.
they took inspiration from
Yes.
Poe.
And this one of all of them said based on a story by Edgar Allan Poe. And it was spelled correctly, so that
Yes.
was a plus.
That's a step up from the last one.
Absolutely. And so I say let's go ahead and dig into our cast and all the fun stuff. And of course, as Jeannie just said, Roger Corman is the director. It was an AIP
Mm-hmm.
film. And so,
Yep.
Jeannie, take it away to deliver the cast.
All right. Well, of course, we had Prospero himself, who was played by none other than Vincent Price, our main man.
Yes,
We love Vincent Price and
we
everything that he
do.
does.
Yes.
So then we need the Julianne character, who
Mm.
at first I had no idea who she was. I didn't know if she was married to Poe's character, Prospero. Okay, there's a lot of P's in this
So
thing.
thought you were gonna say Mary DePoe.
Yeah, I was trying to say married to Poe's Prospero, but it
Right.
did not come out that way.
No.
Uh, but it was played by Hazel Court. Then
Yes.
we had Francesca, played by Jane Asher. We
Mm-hmm.
had Gino by David Weston.
Mm-hmm.
Then we had Nigel Green as Ludovico, who was Francesca's father. We
Yes.
had Patrick McGee as Alfredo. And if people don't realize that setting is in Italy,
Yes.
first I didn't realize that until all of a sudden the names, and I'm going, okay, but nobody's speaking Italian. All right.
No, they really
Um,
didn't. That's okay.
we had and then Robert Brown played a guard. He looked familiar, but I couldn't really
Mm-hmm.
place him. But he's one of those background characters they like to stick in there. Now, the
Repeating.
one thing
Yeah.
that is interesting that Carmen and I were discussing, they also included another Poe story tidbit in this
Yes.
of the character of Hot Toad, who was played by Skip Martin.
Mm-hmm.
Then we had Esmeralda, who was not her name
It
in
was
Hot Frog.
it was
It was
Tripetta. Tripetta.
Tripetta, but in this, they put her name as Esmeralda,
Yes.
but the same premise of the character. It was played by Verena Greenlaw.
Yes.
So that's kind of the major characters of the cast.
Mm-hmm.
It was written by Charles Beaumont and R. Wright Campbell, and of course,
For the
Poe.
screenplay. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yes, for the screenplay.
Yes.
Now, producers was also Roger Corman, but George Willoughby. Now
Okay.
he's a well-named character in the world of production of movies.
Yes. What?
Because he's been in a few things.
Okay. Well, and one other
Um,
thing I was going to mention about Hazel Court, she
mhm,
was in some The Raven with Vincent Price and Boris Karloff,
mhm.
and she
Yep.
was also in what was the other movie she was in with them? You've got it right
Which
there.
one again? Hold on.
Hazel Court. Hazel Court.
Yeah, Hazel Court.
Yeah, she was in The
Yeah, hold on.
Raven.
Yes. So, Curse of Frankenstein, Masque of the Red Death, The Man Who Could Cheat Death, The Raven. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's the only ones that she's listed as known
Okay.
for.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, they trying to, well, she was in a lot of TV series.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's where I recognized. Well,
Wasn't
that was the
she in
TV
Premature
series.
Burial too?
Hold on. Okay, Mask, The Raven. Yes, the premature burial.
Yes.
Although for some reason they don't have her in, as one of the known fours kind of
Okay.
thing.
That's interesting.
So yeah,
Well, those
she
other
was
movies might be a
quite a
little bit bigger. Yeah.
yeah, and she was in Alfred Hitchcock, four of his episodes on his Alfred Hitchcock Presents.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I knew I'd recognized her from quite a few things,
Oh yeah.
but she was one of those that you remember her face, but you kind of don't remember much else.
Okay.
I remember her voice in some
Mm-hmm.
instances, uh, but yeah, she didn't remember. Now, Jane Asher, the one that played Francesca, she
Mm-hmm.
seemed more noticeable or notable to me
I think this may have been one of
for
her
some
first
reason.
films. I think she was only 17 or 18 when this was made.
Oh, yeah. So she, death at a funeral in 2007. So she's still alive.
Mm-hmm.
And because she was born in 1946.
Okay.
So when 64, she had been 18.
Yeah. Yeah. So she very young.
Yep. So she was very young in this. And, but,
Mhm.
uh, so the actual storyline, for some reason, was that evil Prince Prospero,
Mm-hmm.
because he's riding through a Catalina village when he sees that the peasants are dying of the Red Death.
Yes.
And he decides to burn down the village, but he's offended by the villagers and takes Gino and his father-in-law, and then also takes the
Francesca.
daughter,
Mm-hmm.
Francesca. Uh, but what's so weird to me is that it's like, dude, Red Death is there, but you just take these people from the village.
Right.
And one thing he asked Francesca, did you touch the woman? Because the grandmother is the one that's screaming in
Yes.
the hut and
Mm-hmm.
dying. And then he goes in there and sees that she's got the markings of the Red Death and everything.
Yes.
And that's when he comes out and says, did you touch her? Did you go near her? And he's like, no,
Mm-hmm.
then you're coming with me. And I'm going, well, you're not really worried too much about it then, are you?
Well, I know I thought that too because the first scene of the film is the Red Death giving the grandmother the wasn't it the
Rose.
flower? Yeah, the
It
rose
was a white rose that he put his hand over and it turned red
red. Yes, and said
and
take this
then
back
gave
to
it to
your
her.
village. Yeah.
Yeah, and that your village is about to be delivered.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh goody, so we're watching Deliverance. Um,
No, let's not add that in.
well, I'm just saying, the way he said it, it kind of had that creepiness to it,
It
but
did. It definitely did. So, yes, and then Francesca is taken in and forced upon Juliana to take care of and dress her up and clean her up to be presentable among the court of all of Prospero's people that are
yes, and of
staying.
course that feeds into the whole not really a love triangle, but of how Juliana feels that she's being replaced
Yes, with someone younger.
as the chosen one for someone younger.
Right.
So she has not really ill intentions, but she definitely wants to get rid of Juliana. I mean
Yeah.
Francesca.
Oh, yeah. Well, and the scene I really loved was when, she's getting her ready, and then Prince Prospero, played by Vincent Price, is coming into you know, the, I guess, lack of a better word, the ballroom area of his castle, where
Hmm.
all the people are there, all the courtiers, and he's forcing all of these people to act like different animals, which I thought was kind of odd, but it showed the
Hmm.
power that he had over all of them, and they're drinking and eating and just having a good old time. But I just I loved it because there was the one scene that it panned to with the giant clock, which goes kind of with the black room, even though it wasn't
Hmm.
in the black room in this movie, but it still had that representation that the time was running out.
Ticking. Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
just that just kind of metaphoric in the background
Yeah.
ticking.
Yeah. And they did use a lot of props to make the story more
Mm-hmm.
the Mask of the Red Death than actual the storyline, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the things I could pick out, like you're saying, I could pick out a few, like one of the first room they go into, and he's talking to Francesca and telling her about the experiment that his father did, where
Mm-hmm.
he trapped his friend in this room for 3 years
Yes.
and then let him go, and then he couldn't stand to be out in the sun or anything like
Hmm.
that. And then she's like, why would he do that? Something so horrible. And he's
Yeah.
like, well, why not? Kind of thing. It's like,
Yeah.
cause he could. And
Oh
I'm like,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, wonderful.
Well, and
But the
this
purple room just kind of disappointed me
okay. That's interesting.
because, well, what disappointed me about is they didn't emphasize the different colored rooms as much as I would have liked them to.
Well, and I was gonna say, since you brought that up, because the rooms are not this, not all of the rooms are the same colors used in the book. If you look
Mhm.
behind me, this is my painting of Mask of the Red Death with, coming all into the mask in the center. But if you look, there's orange, green, purple, blue, black, violet, and white. And those were the rooms in the story. And they were very, to me, vivid. And so they had the yellow room, they had the purple room, they had the white room, and they had the
In the
black room.
black room.
The one thing I did love in the black room was that they had the red windows because that was also,
Mhm.
they had the stained glass windows in the black room. Um,
Yeah.
in the story. But so why did the purple room disappoint?
Because it was so dark and so, it wasn't emphasized enough that you could tell because some of it was just so lackluster
Okay.
that it wasn't purple. Because at one point when you look at it, you could actually say that it was indigo.
Yeah,
And then at
that's
some point
true.
it was black, it was so dark it was black.
Yeah.
And then only very small instances could you tell that it was actually purple.
Yeah.
So, and then the yellow room was more of like a golden entrance, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was the first room that they walked into because
Yeah.
all the rooms were stacked in a line to each
Right.
other
Yeah.
and they were very small.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, but yes, they kept the stained glass window.
In the black
So,
room. Yeah.
yeah, they had them in every room.
Well,
There
that's
was a
true.
stained
They were
glass
just
in
the
every
same
room.
color. Yeah.
Yeah, they
And
were just the same color as the room.
I just wish that they would have made the yellow room orange because then it would have been more accurate.
Yeah. I mean, technically, there wasn't a blue room.
Not in the movie. Yeah. Now,
No, that's I'm thinking there was no
yeah,
green room, there was no blue room.
there was no
To me,
violet
the white
room.
room was actually Francesca's bedroom.
Yeah, but they did have a separate white room that led from the purple to the white to the black.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
guess you
I
could.
liked the white room. I think because it had the calla lilies on the table.
Yeah,
It was
I mean,
pretty. It was very pretty.
it just wasn't enough in the story for me. They weren't
Yeah,
emphasized enough in the story. That's the main thing. That's
yeah.
why I said
And
that
I agree with you on
Francesca's room
that.
was more of a white room to
Yeah.
me because it had the most white of everything.
Mm-hmm. The only
So,
one thing I noticed more watching it this time, because I've seen this one several times, the basically the ballroom area was very green. So I'm wondering if they did that to kind of represent the green room because the tile on the floor, the tile on the walls, and it had kind of some gold filigree, and then the tapestries were green and gold. And so I kind
mhm,
of thought to myself, I think that's what they were going for. So
yeah.
basically, they didn't have blue, they didn't have orange, and they didn't have violet. Or the purple
But
was a
if you go
mixture
along with,
of violet,
yeah,
you know.
but if you also go along with some of the things with the props,
Hmm.
the candles
Yes,
were blue.
yes, they were. And so I think they
Yes, so,
captured most of the colors, but
but
orange.
they didn't use them the way they should have used them in the
Right.
story.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was and then the hiccup for me. And it's not that I was disappointed that they included the part of the hop frog with Hop Toad
Hmm.
and Esmeralda, who was
Right.
supposed to be,
Trapetta. Yeah.
Trumpetta, but they did stick on that extra part in there, and they kept kind of almost to the story of the ending of Hop Frog in that.
Yes,
You
absolutely.
know,
Hmm.
I don't want to give away in case people haven't read Hop Frog.
Exactly.
Uh,
Yeah, and highly recommend reading Hop Frog.
exactly. So, but yeah, that part uh was kind of a throw off for me that I just
Hmm.
was like, I kind of see where they were going, but at the same time, there wasn't enough of the Mask of the Red Death in there for me.
Okay, yeah.
It was too, really, the only thing about it was just the Red Death. That was it.
Hmm.
That it was, if the Red Death showed up, you're gonna die, period.
Yeah.
That was about the goodness, but the satanic worship part is what bothered me.
Yeah, it really didn't have to be in there to drive the story because
No.
Prospero with his people hiding them behind the wall of the
Hmm.
castle was enough to like, because they were celebrating that they were going to live because the Red Death was locked out.
Yeah, that part was enough of a cult to the story that
Yeah.
they didn't need to add in more. And
Yeah.
this is where, like I was telling you at the beginning, this is where the 60 culture influence was coming into play, in my opinion,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
because there was a lot of the culture of the time that was influencing this writing.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but the story was very indicative of what was going on in the 60s.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I
it
agree.
it kind of, I could see why, but at the same time it took away from the original story too much for me.
Hmm. I
It was
will
a
say,
disservice to Poe.
yes, I will say one of my favorite lines in this movie is when there is a death. I'm not going to give it away who it is, but there is one of the courtiers that goes up to Prince Prospero and he's like, ignore this, just keep on going. And they're about to have the feast before the masquerade.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, well, what are we going to do with her or whatever? And he goes, oh, don't worry about this one. Uh, this person, I'm not trying to give it away, is going to see a really good friend of mine, meaning the devil. It
Mm-hmm.
is the way, and I obviously I can't deliver it like Vincent Price. Um,
Yeah.
but it's a great line. That was good writing, the way they did that.
Yeah, and it was good that they had the right actor doing it. Because if it's
Absolutely.
someone else said it, it would probably would not have had as much of an impact.
Oh no, no, not at all. And so of the that part of the devil stuff, that was the thing I did like was just that line. It was just very trite and,
Yeah, and it was very reminiscent of why Vincent Price got the accolades that he did for being a horror actor,
Yes.
because he fits so well in these genres and in those
Hmm.
particular characters that he can deliver them so well. That's why in some of the other movies, when they don't show his character as well, it makes
Yeah.
me mad
Yes.
because I'm like, you're killing me, you're
Yes.
killing me for Vincent Price. Stop it. So yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, because he's such a good actor, and he really can almost play any kind of part. And obviously, like you said, especially horror, but he's just so commanding of a
Mhm.
presence on the camera.
Oh yeah, he definitely redeemed himself in my opinion with this movie from the last one. So I was happy with that.
Well, I will say that this is actually one of my favorite of the Corman Poe films. And I'll talk more about that when we do our Raven and Cat.
Mhm. Okay. Yeah, I think, and this is going to sound really strange, but one of my favorite parts of the movie
Uh-huh.
was the ending.
Yes, I
As you can see
totally
from my behind me,
yes, and I want
uh,
to talk about that. That I wrote down something so I wouldn't forget.
yeah,
Yes.
because the the way that they included it as kind of a circle,
Yeah.
how things, life, death, heaven, hell, everything has a kind of a purpose.
Yeah.
I know I'm stuck on the P thing with Prince Prospero Poe and purpose, but
You always are.
I just like, yeah, for some reason it gets that way. But
Yeah,
yes, it kind of just, it really was the perfect ending, in my opinion.
I
And
agree. Poe would be
I was just
very
happy.
happy, yeah, with
Yeah.
it. I really
Poe would have
do.
appreciated that more than anything. So
Hmm.
I thought that was redeemable, in my opinion, to the
Yeah.
Poe.
Yeah, I agree. It is probably I think that's one of the reasons that it is one of my favorites of the Corman films.
Mhm.
And the one thing that our viewers can't see is that, with behind Jeannie, this is
Mhm.
part of the ending, and you cannot see to the right of her who the other masked
I
uh
was trying to see if I could get out of the picture, but I can't.
oh, that's okay. No, you're good. You're in between the blue and the
Yeah,
red, but after
yeah,
the kind of purple violet color, it's black. It's someone in a black robe.
yeah. Because,
Yeah.
right, the very beginning is like the indigo color,
Yeah.
the dark bluish,
Yeah,
and then you got
violet, purple,
indigo,
yeah.
and then the red, and then the gold.
Orange, gold, yeah,
Well,
then
yeah,
yeah.
gold. It's more gold, but I think it's meant to be orange,
Yeah, then
and then
yellow and
the
white.
yellow, and
Yeah.
then the white.
So here's my question, okay, because there are some theorists thinking that,
Mhm.
Poe used 7 rooms, all of the colors, that my poem, Death in Color, I did research on this, and one of the things that some historians think are that Poe used this for the 7 deadly sins. And
Mm-hmm.
so, but then when you think about the movie, now granted, it's coming from the inspiration from Poe, you have these 7 robed, hooded figures. And but then the red represents the Red Death, which,
Mm-hmm.
many people have thought to be what, cholera, the plague. I think there's,
Well, the Red Death was an actual plague, so
yeah, tuberculosis, I think. There's been several
well,
different, thoughts on which disease it is. And so it's like, are these hooded men representing the 7 deadly sins, like possibly what Poe might have done with the rooms? Because we don't have it for sure that that's what he really was meaning.
mhm.
Um, but because if you think about it, or is it they're representing different diseases? Because, black, black death, yellow, yellow fever, white could be leprosy. I just
Hmm.
started thinking about that. So I was anxious to talk to you about this because I think this is a very interesting topic.
Well, at the very end of the movie, they actually made comments of what they did and where they were
Yes,
coming from.
that's
Because
why
the
I
red,
thought that.
the dark purple blackish one
Yeah.
was saying how he had just taken out like 100,000
Yes.
people.
Yes.
And then I think the white one was talking about how he had put so many to sleep,
Yes.
because the
He
sleeping
did.
sickness, which is
Right.
kind of like leprosy, not leprosy. What is it?
Uh,
Not kind of not. There was another disease. There's another plague that does it. I can't remember. Anyway, and
yeah.
then typhoid, and then you've got cholera, and then
Yeah.
you've got, the yellow death, which is the
Yellow
yellow
fever.
fever.
Yeah.
So yes, and that was also my thing that I was thinking, but also I was going back to where in Revelations, because I think Poe loves to insert a lot of things from the book of Revelations,
Yeah.
because that has to do with the four horsemen, which
Right.
is like pestilence, war, all
Mm-hmm.
those things, and also the
Famine.
seven
Yeah.
deadly sins.
Right.
But the number seven is always in religion.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so I think that had something to do with it. But yes, I think that they were putting their own spin on the colors,
Yes.
like Poe did to give like the seven deadly sin kind of
Mm-hmm.
vibe,
Yeah.
but putting it more into the time period. Because in that time
Yes.
period, there was all these diseases and pestilence. That was the other thing,
Yeah.
pestilence. And because
Famine. Famine would be another
tsetse
like,
fly. Tsetse fly. That's what I was thinking of. The tsetse fly is the one that the sleeping disease.
okay. Okay.
Because if you get bit by the tsetse fly, it puts you into a coma and then you die.
Okay. All right.
So
Okay,
yes,
that makes
yeah.
sense.
So
Yeah. But yeah,
and
just
then
because it was interesting thinking about like when I did my poem Death in Color based on this story, and
mhm,
I was kind of like connecting each of the colors with the different sins. Some were
mhm,
easier than others, like green
yeah,
for envy, that,
envy,
yeah, and that kind of thing. But yeah, it just,
and which envy could also be translated to war,
yeah.
because most of wars are broken out over greed and power
Hmm.
and money and land. And so envy
Yeah.
would be into that category.
Hmm.
Sloth would be glutton, not gluttony. Sloth would be like the white one with the going to sleep, the sleeping sickness kind of
Yeah.
thing where people don't want to do anything. And then,
Hmm.
so yeah, I like the symbolism of the
Yeah.
ending.
Yeah,
That
me
that
too.
was that was the redeeming quality, in my opinion, for the movie.
Yeah. Well, and it
Other
stuck.
than Vincent Price, I mean,
Well, yeah, absolutely. You can't go wrong. But yeah,
mhm,
I like the beginning when the Red Death is coming, through the foggy forest,
mhm.
desolate forest, and he finds this woman, and then all of that takes place. And then, as you described, Vincent Price is in his carriage and going into this little village, and then the whole story really begins. But it definitely, like you had said, it kind of is a circle with the way the men came in and everything. The movie is circular with the way it began to the end,
Mhm.
where all of them came together.
The one thing that I thought they should have made full circle was that at the very end, when they're, the robed pestilence or whatever you want to call them,
Right.
were talking, they said that there were only six survivors. And I'm like, why couldn't there have been seven?
Yeah.
because that would have
Yes.
been the perfect round, to bring it full home.
Oh, yeah.
But if you look at, they kept the six, and I think this is just me because we all know that during those times, and even in today's study with
Hmm.
Satan, the number 666.
Yeah.
So I think maybe that might have a little bit to do with that part of the story, is they
Yeah.
kept it with, since it was changed to that area, they kept that part of the religion.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's very possible. I mean, this is chock full of biblical allusions. Definitely.
Very much so. And I mean,
Hmm.
you could watch it several times and still get more and more out of it because, yeah, it was definitely hinging toward a religious statement
Yes.
more than anything,
Absolutely. Yeah.
more than Poe had in his story. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I think so too.
yeah, sorry.
Oh, no,
There's
that's
something
okay.
picking at the window. Thought it was the cat trying to get a bird.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, and that's one of the things in the movie was the falcon, the peregrine falcon they had in
Yes.
the movie.
Yes.
I was like, what was the point of that? Other
I,
than him saying how they blinded the peregrines by sewing their eyes shut. And
yeah.
I'm like,
I really think that it was showing Prospero's character through the through the movie as
mhm,
he was pure evil, but he was also a
yeah,
hedonist as well because it was pleasure for pleasure's sake and it didn't
yeah,
matter who got hurt.
yeah. And I got that, but I was at the same time, I was like, yeah, I know you're trying to show the exertion of your will onto others and how you can control them with your power. But at the same time, I don't know. I was a little ticked off about the Falcon. I mean, and then they had a raven in there, or
Yeah,
yeah,
they
a
did.
crow or a
Who was in the
raven.
black room? Hmm.
Yeah, and then the raven ended up turning into an evil
Being,
doomsayer. And
yeah,
I'm like,
he was an
but
omen.
that once more, but see, that's one of those things to where it's according to different cultures how it's received. Because in certain cultures, the raven is not a evil omen or
Yeah,
a death omen. It's something different. So
yeah. Well, do you think we're at the point to do raven croaks and black cat hisses?
I think so. I think we're
Um,
croaking.
all right. Well, I think I went first last time, so you go first
Mhm.
this time.
Okay, well, we'll start with the croaking. I will give this, I will have to give this a 3.5
Okay.
Raven Croak.
All right.
Just because I only got bored like twice through the whole movie, enough to
That's good
where
for you.
yeah, I dozed off once and woke up going, what happened? Luckily, I only missed like a few seconds, so it wasn't that bad. So yeah, 3.5 because, of course, like I said, Vincent Price's character, his acting was phenomenal for this character.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I did like the use of some of the props and the use of them putting the little homage to Hop Frog in there.
Mm-hmm.
So those were those were redeeming qualities for me.
Okay.
Now, Black Cat Hisses, I'm gonna have to go with a 3
Okay.
because I'm like in the middle of it was a good movie, but it was definitely centered for the time frame
Yeah.
of when it was made
Yeah.
rather than
Not the
for the
setting.
story.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that kind of it could have been done closer to the way Poe intended, in my
Mhm.
opinion, to make it better.
Yeah.
So I didn't, I wasn't totally put off, but I was not thrilled with the changes they made.
Okay.
So 3.5 for the croaking and 3 for the hissing.
All right. That sounds good. So
Yeah.
for me, I am going to give this 5 raven croaks because, like I said, this is one of my favorite of the Corman films. It's not my favorite, but it is one of.
Mhm.
And I think for me, again, you've got Vincent Price. You've
Mhm.
got, the other actors who were in it did a really good job as well, especially like Hazel Court. They had prior, acting together, the two of them, and then some of the minor characters were really good. And
Mhm.
just the nuances of the Masque of the Red Death story from Poe, even though that I was disappointed that they didn't have all the rooms with all the specific colors, and there
Mhm.
may have been something about orange back then. That's something we could, look into of why they used yellow versus orange for the room. And so,
Yeah.
and to me, the film itself, it was so packed full of color. It brought it all so much to life. And it was
Mhm.
almost like it was metaphorical for showing how Prospero was so full of life. Like we just said, he was evil, but he was, pleasure for pleasure's sake, and he lived life to the fullest until, the Mask of the Red Death entered the picture. And so the colors, to me, it just, I love all of the vividness that it had in it. And I think Corman did a spot on job with bringing all that out because the costumes, they were all, period, you know, correct and
Mhm.
appropriate. And then, with the masquerade, once they moved into that scene, all of the different costumes that the people had were just so intricate, and it was amazing. I guess me as, a seamstress at heart, that just, that made me really happy. Just I loved all that. And so, the setting, everything with that part of it was really great. And then I also love the ending. To me, that sealed the deal. And so
Mhm.
that's one of the reasons I put it up so high. The what and then also and having the hop frog little element in there because again, and maybe in our list of Poe films, even and maybe it'll be a short sometime later, I've not seen any other hop frog done, on film.
Well, I'm going to put this out here that it probably won't be done
Yeah,
due to the nature of the story.
right.
It's one
Yeah.
of those things that you would have to be extremely careful
Yes.
about how to do it. I
Yes.
mean, it's not that it's a bad story, but you have to take in consideration the social acceptance of
Right.
the generations of the time. So,
Absolutely. No, I totally agree with you. Very to have the sensitivity there and
well,
everything.
let me rephrase not acceptance, but the social understanding. Let me
Yes.
put it
Yeah, no,
because
I agree with
that's
you
part
on
of the
that.
problems is the cultural ramifications because of not understanding that part of the culture of that history.
True,
So,
true, very true.
yeah.
And so with Black Cat Hisses, I'm going to give it a 2 because I agree the satanic worship in there I didn't
Hmm.
care for. I didn't think it was needed. It almost it really applied more to Juliana than it did. I mean,
Hmm.
Prospero, yes, but subtly with him. And so it's like if they didn't have that in there, would Juliana's character have been necessary? Probably
No, there
not.
was no need for her to be in there. She was
Yeah.
just like an afterthought, or they just wrote her a part so
Mm-hmm.
she could have something to play.
Right, right. And so it was one of those things that it's like I see where they're kind of going with the good versus evil because
Mhm.
Francesca, the first, dress she has on is white, just showing that
Mhm.
purity, innocence compared to Prospero. And when Prospero, his costume at the masquerade is all black. And so again, that light to dark kind of theme going on. And so and then really and truly, I mean, that's probably the biggest element I didn't like. I think that also too, I'm just trying to think, some of it was very accurate to Poe's story, but again, they took a little license with some things. And so that's why I'm only giving it a 2 on the hisses.
I can understand that.
Yeah. But I don't know. This was, I think, one of the first ones I watched of, no, I Follow the House of Usher is the very first one I ever watched. This was, I think, the second one before
Yeah,
we got into this. And I've seen these movies multiple times since the begin when I first
yeah.
watched these.
And I can't say that I have because unfortunately I'm one of those, I guess, sticklers about books to movies and stories
Yes.
to movies and stuff
Mhm.
like that because I'm very critical,
Yes, you are.
especially if they ruin the actual story for me.
Right, right.
Because taking what was written, and it's great if because I know you have to write it for a whole different screen, rather
Yeah.
it being written to be read versus written to be seen. So
Yes.
I understand that, but at the same time, you don't have to make such strong changes to make things work.
Right.
But if you were just saying that it's an inspiration, but then you just put your own spin on things,
Mm-hmm.
then I'll look at it differently. But if you're trying to use a lot of what was in the story that made the story, but then you turn it different
Mm-hmm.
to the point to where you're actually destroying the original story, I have a
Yeah.
problem with that.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why I react the way I do with certain movies like these
Yeah.
that have
Oh,
been
I
written
know.
from.
Yeah.
So, but I try to keep an open mind. You know, it's thank God they never did a movie on some words with a mummy. So,
Oh, we
although
need
I might have
I
actually watched that one and been happy with it.
That's true.
Because if they rewrote it,
Maybe we should suggest that to Poe movies.
exactly. Yeah, rewrite that for me, please. You know, just saying.
Oh my
I'll help you
goodness.
write it if you want me to.
Oh gosh.
But yeah, but Mask of the Red Death, it's one of those staples of Poe's legacy.
Mm-hmm.
And if you come into watching a movie with an open mind and not expecting to see just a reenactment of the actual written,
Word
I
for
think,
word. Yeah.
yeah, I think you can suspend some of the expectation of Poe in there
Yeah.
to enjoy the movie.
Yeah.
So
I think so too.
yeah, they could have just done without the whole Juliana Satan side of that. It
Yeah.
would, to me, it had no bearing whatsoever in the movie. But anyway,
Oh yeah.
now next time is the last Roger Corman.
Yes. Yeah. Because we said we were
And
going to do the whole Poe Corman cycle in this season.
exactly. So the next one for we're in April, right? May.
Yes.
Had to make sure what month I'm in. For May is the 1986 1964, still the same year, which I think is
Yes.
ironic. The Tomb of Ligeia.
Yes. And it's
So
it's a
it's,
it's a good one.
yep. And what is really what's really ironic is the movie poster has a black cat on it
Yes, it does. And there's a
instead of a
reason for
woman.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It has a black cat instead of a woman, and the tagline says a man's obsession with his dead wife drives a wedge between him and his new bride.
Yes.
So, and then you have, and what's so funny is where I was going with that is the black cat's head looks like the wedge.
Oh,
It's shaped like a wedge
yes.
that you would stick into something to block it. So I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I wonder if they did that on purpose.
Oh,
But yeah,
yes.
so next month, May, is the Tomb of Ligeia.
Yes. And we should probably like share out just for a minute a couple of the things that we have coming up. So
Or that
on
we have going on.
That's true. Okay, yeah, let's do that first.
Yeah,
So
let's
we
start
have
with what's
the
happening now.
Yes, the fourth annual Poet Like Poe poetry contest.
Mhm.
Go to our website, sixdegreesofpoe.com, and you may submit. There's a button, or I'm sorry, a link that says click here, and you can go into the jot form and submit your poem for the
Mhm.
contest. And it runs through May 15th, so you've got plenty of time to get those in.
Yes, and remember, one submission per person.
Yes,
So
yes.
only
And
one
no
submission, and we from
AI.
pages. Yeah, no AI, no, 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 no.
Yes,
And 11 to 17 is one category, and 18 and up is another whole category for the
yes.
adults.
And
So,
there are prizes. Check those out.
yep, yep, check them out.
And we
And
have
then
amazing
coming up,
judges.
yes, we got our panel of judges ready to go.
Yes. So, yes, next up is April 25th.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing a special live Gothic guest episode.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be live on YouTube with Jason Markiewicz and his cast of The Masque of the
The
Red
Masque of
Death.
Death. Yahoo!
So this
So
was
we're keeping
very
it real in April.
it was very
Oh,
apropos to have this
yeah,
as our
yeah.
movie for this month, with our Gothic guests being the cast of Markiewicz's Productions, Mask of the Red Death.
Yes. Yes, it's going to be a blast to talk to
Potastic.
him and some, yeah, potastic to him and some of his cast, not cask, but
Yes.
cast of the Mask of the Red Death. So that's April 25th. It's going to be 4 p.m. Central Standard Time,
Yes.
and it's going to be live on YouTube, but you can also check it out on the recordings.
Yes.
Um, we'll have that also on there. And then next, after that, on May the 16th, we will be doing yet another live
Live.
event. And this is our second annual event, but it's the fifth for the actual
National.
Doomsday event.
Yes.
Yes,
From the
the
National
international,
Yeah, the
national, yeah.
National Edgar
Yeah.
Allan Poe Theater in
Uh-huh.
Baltimore has been
Yes.
doing Doomsday for this will be their fifth year, and so for us it's
Mm-hmm.
just the second. They do
Mm-hmm.
24 hours from May 16th noon to May 17th noon, and we're doing May 16th. That is correct, May 16th from
Yes,
11
it's Mace.
a.m. Central Time to 11 p.m. Central Time. And
Mm-hmm.
the National Edgar Allan Poe Theater, theirs is going to be running from Eastern Time.
Yes, they start at noon Eastern time. That's
Yes,
why ours starts at 11 Central
right.
time.
Correct. Yes.
And this year we're going for 12 hours instead of
Yes.
last year's 8. And we're going to be doing a live event, and we're going to have people not just from our area, where we're going to have some of our Poe people that you may have seen on our Poe Unplugged, on our Gothic guests. You know,
Mhm.
we're just bringing out
Or
out of the
or
woodworks.
Poe hosts.
Yes,
Our
we're
hosts.
bringing our Poe peoples to the podcast
Yes.
for our Doomsday fundraiser. So we're excited
Yes.
that not so much about the 12 hours because that, that may be daunting according to how much we have to read to make in time, but that's
That's right.
okay.
But we have lots of our Poe friends that have already signed up. So this is going to be
Exactly.
an
So you
amazing an
won't just
event.
be having to listen to our voice
Yes.
and
Yes.
see our faces. So, don't
Yes.
get tired of our voices just yet.
No,
So we'll
we
be
got
there.
we got a lot of Poe-tastic ism in us.
Exactly. And the one good thing about Doomsday is you get to be introduced to more than just the normal Poe works. You will get to hear a lot of Poe that you may not know. Uh-oh, I've started. It's rhyme time.
Yes, it is rhyme
You know
time.
what that
Hey,
means.
but it's
Mhm.
poetry month, so that's okay.
Yeah, this always happens to me this time of the year, around this month. I gotta go rhyme, so
It's time.
it's Poe time. Okay.
All right. I think
Yes.
that is the all the things that we have coming up in the
Mhm.
next couple months. And
Yeah,
then,
that I can remember.
yes, absolutely. So
So,
we are going to be sending out on social media and our newsletter soon a survey for you to fill out. And
mhm.
we want our viewers and listeners to choose a topic for us to talk about in June
Mhm.
for our degree episode. So
Yes, it's going
that's
to be a
coming
fan
soon.
favorite episode
Yes.
because you get to choose what you would like for us to discuss. Here we go
Yes.
again. All right. On
So
that note,
don't
yeah,
fuss because we
yeah,
must
yes,
actually.
yes. I'm not going to do it. I'm tired. I don't want to.
All right, we're gonna
Don't
stop
make a
rhyming.
fuss. Just listen to us and come on back and tell us, what
Yes.
you want to hear, what you
All
want to
right.
see, because
All
that's what
right.
it's all about. Okay, sorry.
So, Judy, on that
Uh huh.
note,
We
we
are
are
Ho